Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at OpsWorks scenarios in our scenario solver. I'll say it one more time. It's probably best to pause the recording and maybe try to work through these on your own. Give yourself 2 or 3 minutes and then restart the lesson. I'll talk about the scenarios a bit and we'll look at the solution. So let's take a look at our first scenario. You are creating an OpsWorks stack to host your application. You have created the stack, added layers including an application layer, and add an instance to the layer. But the instance never reaches a ready state and deployment fails. What could be wrong? All right. So let's think this through. Let's think about the OpsWorks process. First, create a stack. You can then add multiple layers to your stack. You can add instances to your layers, and then add applications to your instances. So we are stuck at adding an instance to the layer. Let's just think about the fundamentals of what's going on. We have a layer and we add an instance to it. The instance never reaches a ready state and deployment fails. So we have a fresh instance coming up. So it's good to understand what's going on behind the scenes. So when an instance starts up in OpsWorks, OpsWorks builds instance user data based on the OS type. So let's say it's Linux. Now, during instance boot, OpsWorks runs the user data and installs the OpsWorks agent. Where's this coming from? The OpsWorks agent is downloaded from S3. All right, so we have an EC2 instance and we need to get an OpsWorks agent on this instance from S3. So there's our clue. We're talking about going over to S3 and getting this information. Getting this OpsWorks agent. What do we need to do that? Let's remember where S3 is. S3 is not in our VPC. We need internet access to go retrieve that information. So the most common cause, if your instance start failed, is an issue in your VPC configuration. Make sure the instances in the VPC can access the internet. So otherwise, the attempt to download the agent will fail, and ultimately the instance start will fail. It's going to take a couple minutes, but ultimately it will fail. That seems to be the solution. Let's find out. Solution: the EC2 does not have a public IP address or an elastic IP address and is failing bootstrapping. Make sure instances are assigned a public IP address or elastic IP address. And we saw this in one of the lessons. When you set up the layer, it's a radio button that you check to make sure that your instances are getting an elastic IP address. Let's take a look at our next scenario. You're managing an OpsWorks stack. You have a new requirement to perform blue-green deployments to greatly minimize downtime. How can you implement this in OpsWorks? All right, well, let's think about what blue-green deployments are. Blue-green deployments, we have a blue environment, which is our current environment. We have a green environment, which is going to be the new environment. We're testing it out until we're ready to deploy. Now, these environments are going to be pretty much exactly the same, except for the blue environment is hosting the current version of our application. The green environment is hosting our new version of the application. So it says we have an OpsWorks stack. We have one stack. Now, to do a blue-green deployment, we need a second OpsWorks stack. Now, we could just create that manually, but we can also clone a stack. So we clone the stack, and that second new stack is going to be our green stack. The original is going to be the blue stack. We have a second stack. We need to update the application on our new stack. And then basically, once we perform the application update, this green stack is ready to become our production stack. And essentially what we can do is go into Route 53 and we can change our alias record to point to the DNS of our new green stack. So let's check out our solution. Clone your OpsWorks stack. That is the key. When you are ready to deploy, update the application on your new green stack and swap URLs. So basically, we go into Route 53, our hosted zone. We want to change our alias record to be pointing to our green stack, which then becomes our production stack. And that is a look at our OpsWorks scenarios. Go ahead and mark this lesson complete, and let's move on.